Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us. I have some updates. I know this is a quick turnaround time for today, so we are recording this meeting so that those who are unable to meet with us can hopefully review it later on. But we just had some housekeeping items that I needed to get back to many of you on, and so I wanted to kind of start with covering some of those issues. As I've mentioned in previous town hall meetings, we're going to go over equipment issues, so the tablets, laptops, headsets, that kind of stuff. We'll talk about some touchscreen issues that we've heard about from some other coalitions and here locally. Provider enrollment, we found some errors that can delay some issues in the child enrollment side of things, not provider enrollment. We'll talk a little bit about the FAST using STAR early literacy, and just a couple of other housekeeping items related to the FAST. So it's a relatively quick meeting, but I wanted to start out, several of you have contacted me about the equipment that we ordered. We ordered tablets. Division of Early Learning gave us some money from some COVID CARES related funding, and that was in order to help children overcome the learning gaps that might have happened because they were at home or not in an early childhood environment during COVID. And those dollars were used to purchase equipment. We started last February. In March, the company that the state had received, they had selected from their RFQ process, started delivering things, and they delivered headsets to us rather than to all of you. So we have 2 headsets for every classroom, every VPK classroom in our office. They were going to work on redistributing them for us. They have since backed out of that. So we are left with needing to get headsets to you in a quick turnaround time. So we'll put that to the side because we have a couple of other pieces related to equipment. The company was going to give everyone tablets, 2 tablets per VPK classroom. We ordered them based on the number of classes you had last year because we started this order in March and in February. So if you have more VPK classes this year or fewer, we are looking to redistribute those tablets. So if you have more tablets than you have classes this year, we would ask that you work with us to return those back to us so that we can get them in classrooms that don't have tablets. We did order a few backups, so we have some extra ones here at the coalition as well while we're going through this transition process, but I wanted to throw that out. Then several of you did not receive tablets. You received laptops. Halfway through the procurement, the company said, and the state has clarified with me, that they could procure alternate devices. They were allowed to provide us with alternate devices. However, once those alternate devices were delivered, those of you that got the laptop, Chromebook kind of laptop, we found that they did not have touch screens. That is a key element in administering the STAR, the FAST using STAR. The FAST STAR assessment. I'm going to have to come up with a shortcut for that over time. So what we did was we contacted the company.
Because I did it is.
Oops, we've got somebody, if you can mute. Thanks. If you are unable to, if you have the tablets, they're going to be delivering new tablets. They are also laptop models, but they will have the screen that you can flip over, and it has touch screen capabilities. So those are coming. They have told us they will be here by Wednesday of this week. This has been a 5-month-long process. And the first thing that I will tell you all is I apologize. Many of you sent me emails and said, hey, Jennifer, what about this? And I did not have an answer. So I neglected to return emails and phone calls to many of you because I was still researching and trying to figure out how we were going to fix this problem as quickly as possible for you. So I apologize if I owe you an email or a phone call. Be patient and please feel free to reach out to me again. At least we have a resolution to this problem. So if you received a laptop without a touchscreen or 2 per classroom, you are going to receive something new this week. Yes, so everybody's jumping ahead. You guys are on top of it. we are going to need to collect those laptops. If you have the original packaging material, I know you may not, and that's okay, but if you have the original packaging materials, put them back in the box, because if we can get more money back to our community, I would like to do so. I really don't want the Seminole County community to lose out on that funding, but we will collect them. So at least the charger and the tablet itself, the Chromebook, or I guess they're Lenovo's, we'll collect those back from you. And many of you, if you didn't get the tablets, we sent you cases as well. We use some of our quality dollars to purchase cases. So if you get a laptop, the case for the tablet isn't going to work. So we'll collect those as well. Some of our partner coalitions ordered those tablets, so we might be able to do some kind of a deal to make sure that those tablets get to a good home with some of our partner coalitions. So we're working on that as well. In the meantime, we need to get you headsets. We need to collect the laptops that don't work, and we need to collect the cases if you got a laptop instead. All of the equipment now that you receive, once these new tablets come in, should be able to be used immediately to work on your staff having the children practice using that STAR assessment. So I did get some questions from some folks about when can we start practicing, because if children haven't taken this kind of an assessment before, if they're not familiar with a tablet, although I venture to guess our 4-year-olds are probably pretty good with iPhones and Android phones, so they know touch screens, but we still want you to have the opportunity to work through the practice test so you can open those up and use them at any time. The current laptops aren't going to work, but by Wednesday you should have the new ones. Does that make sense to everybody? Any questions? I know I'm seeing a few things pop up on chat. And yes, everybody's supposed to get headsets. So the first thing I'm going to ask is that if you are able, and it's purely a all hands on deck situation, if you are able to bring those items that you have to us and exchange them for your headsets, just contact Sandy or Stephanie, your VPK assigned staff member that can help you. We're open from 7 in the morning until 6 in the evening, so one of us here will be able to assist you with that. If you are not able to come, we are going to work amongst ourselves to do some kind of a drive around the community and visit your sites to do that. So we're asking if you're able to, and you can swing by, just let Stephanie or Sandy know, and then we won't put you on our map quest to drive around the community. But I know it can be a burden for some of you. I know it's just the worst possible time of year to ask you to do this. So we're trying to figure out the best way. And if you're able to swing by here, we would appreciate it. We'll have a little form where we'll have a receipt. And then we'll give you your headsets, so you should be good to go. We're working on trying to order some kind of cases for these newest tablets, but they're supposed to be pretty sturdy. So I think we'll be in a good condition for you to use, at least right now, and we'll still be looking at finding some funding or getting our return money for the new cases. And thank you, Sandy put in Sandy's email and Stephanie's email in the chat box as well. Okay. Questions about downloading the assessment. Thanks, Diana. That it is an online assessment, so you're not actually going to download it. It's actually something that you do, and everybody should have access to the training and the manual for that. On the Division of Early Learning website, there are 3 frequently asked questions sections and links to the manual, so I'll mention that to you all as well. I just checked this morning and saw that they're there. The reason I'm sending you to the Division of Early Learning website is because as they update things, if I email it to you, then you might not get the latest version as they're adding things to it. So I don't want you to miss out on the newest information, but they are adding things as we go with the frequently asked questions. Does that kind of help as far as the assessment? So everybody, we'll talk a little bit about the URL and how to get to the assessment in a second. We're going to try and do these drop-offs and pickups this week, so we will. Please let your team know if you're not there that where the tablets are that we can pick up. and that we can drop things off for you so that if you're not on site, we don't have to make multiple trips. We're trying to just communicate thoroughly with everybody so we can get through this process. On those of you that have tablets, I've received reports from a couple of people that the tablets themselves, and if you'll apologize, I got notes on my cell phone from one of my counterparts that solved the problem because they said that the devices themselves have a tutorial, and it's a voice tutorial. So a lot of people were saying that they couldn't touch the touch screen. It was too hard to push the buttons. You have to turn off the voice tutorial in order to be able to have the regular touch screen option. So if you run into those troubles, feel free to reach out to us. And we can help you with that. Some folks thought that the tablets were broken and they weren't working properly. It's just that that voice tutorial is turned on and you have to turn it off so that the touch screen works well. Okay. All right, so I see you put our address, 280 Hunt Park Cove, Suite 1020 in Longwood. That's our address. Thank you for those of you that can swing by. I appreciate it. The next thing I wanted to talk about was the child enrollment side of things. As you're enrolling children into your classes, sometimes we've accepted a certificate for a child who never shows up. What we're asking you to do is not transfer that child to a vacant class or try and transfer them out. Simply put, not enrolled. When you transfer children, as though they had transfer as if they've already attended one day. If they attended one day with you, then we transfer them out because we have to count the hours that they've used. But what's happening is if we try and transfer children before they've even used one day of VPK, we're having to go to the state and open a ticket, and it slows the whole process down. It's a glitch in the system that we can't fix internally. We have to go up to the state. And the problem with that is we need all of your kids enrolled so that those children then show up on your STAR assessment system. Because as you enroll the children into the EFS Mod provider portal, overnight, every evening, those are being pulled out of EFS Mod and connected to Renaissance for the STAR. So you will not have the capabilities, and you don't need to give yourself time to enter those children because they're going to be linked overnight. It takes about, yes, I see some yays. We don't have to type all the kids' names in. We got one win today. I'll take it. If you enter a new child, they are telling us that sometimes it takes 48 hours. So give it 2 days if the child doesn't show up, because it's supposed to connect every night, but that's a kind of a technical timing issue. They've said give it 48 hours to make sure that the children show up. So I just wanted you to be aware of that as well. But every night it's pulling the children out and connecting them with the Renaissance system. Okay. Last piece is to talk more about the STAR. I know this is new. All of you have been taking classes, you've been certified, you're asking questions, and you've been very patient with us. We're all kind of learning this, so there are lots of frequently asked questions that are going to the state, again, which is why I'm connecting you with the Division of Early Learning website. And there's a little window at the top. Their website's got a lot of information. If you just go to the search window at the top of their website, it will actually give you, you can put in FAST, F-A-S-T, and it takes you right to all of the communications that have gone out about the Florida Assessment of Student Thinking. Going to remember these someday. So once you take a look at that, it's floridaearlylearning.com if you don't want to Google the Division of Early Learning. And that will take you to their website, and they have all of their frequently asked questions and the rules, the guidelines, and so on. So a couple of things for you to be aware of. The state has been sending out communication directly to the individuals that are in the EFS Mod provider portal. So if you change directors or your director left And the new person who should be getting that information is the email has not been updated. The state does that without us. They just go in, pull out everybody's email addresses and send things to you. So please make sure that that profile is updated so that we will continue to be able to get that information to you. Obviously, we have our constant contact email that you're all on or you wouldn't be here today. And we do our local email where we add extra people, but when the state does their email messaging and their letters that they send out, it's coming out of the EFS Mod provider portal. So I just want to make sure that everybody keeps that up to date. Another thing that we're seeing some challenges with is that the state sent out a list of the URLs or the websites where you are going to go on to take your assessments for children. It's where the practice site and everything else is. They sent out a list and there are different URLs for different places in the state. And what happened is a lot of people looked at the very first link, typed that in and didn't read the rest of the memo. And you might be on the Miami-Dade link, which is not going to show your children in Seminole County. So I think Lori has the memo up so that we can share it with you. Do you mind sharing that, Lori, if you're able?
Yes, I can. Hold on. I'm on only one screen and I'm used to doing this with two screens. So hold on. Yeah. Be patient with me, in other words.
Yes. Well,
all right.
While you're doing that, Lori, I'll mention, I see Diana, they said they'll only email the director. Renaissance is trying not to, I guess they've limited who they will communicate with. So whoever that director is who they're communicating with. So just make sure that internally you have a system so that that information gets to the teacher or whoever needs to get that information. This is that kickoff, and thank you. You can see on the website. Go ahead, Lori.
Yeah, this is the kickoff letter that you should have all received. Again, that is on the website, the DEL, as Jennifer said, it says kickoff. And when you open it up, this is what you get. And you can see there's VBK site 1, 2, 3, but you have to go all the way down to 4. And you'll see right down here at the bottom, ELC of Seminole. So you should be using right here. That's our URL. So that's where you should be going to register with Renaissance. All right. Any questions?
And that's where you should see your children popping up. They should be in there. You should be able to see your different classes and the children in there if you've enrolled children into your classes in the provider portal already.
Okay. Great. I'll stop sharing. So.
Okay. And Daphne, I see you said you'll have a tile on your Clever. So you have a setup that'll have a tile to link to that site for the public school teachers that are involved. Okay, thank you. I saw a question about providing screen protectors for the tablets. We're looking into that. We've got to, once we actually get them delivered to everybody, we need to make our returns and free up some cash so that, yes, our intention is to buy some type of a protective device to put around those tablets as well. I don't know how quickly we'll get them, but hopefully it'll take less than 5 months like it did to get the tablets. Let's see. 48 hours if a student switches classes to, yes, if you change a child from one class to a different class, it could take up to 48 hours for it to be reflected into the STAR system. That's my understanding. Okay. Let's see. What other questions do you all have right now? Oh, I'm seeing some more come through. Thoughts on how to manage all the devices? Apps or updates without having to touch each device. We haven't messed with the devices a whole lot because they came directly to you. And up until now, I wasn't even sure if we were all going to keep the same devices. So we have 2 different types. We have a tablet and we have the touch screen Chromebook laptop type and tablet. It's my understanding that because they're web-based, that it should update the assessment. So you may have operating system updates when you plug it in just to get the system going when you connect it to Wi-Fi, but otherwise it should be okay. These will belong to you. So if you have a corporate spyware that you want to put on or something to limit sites, you're certainly welcome to do that. But that's really all up to you. Once they're in your hands, they will belong to you from that point forward. Okay, with the changes, are we still going to be doing VPK portfolios? So the assessments really come 3 times a year. That's what's required. So within the first 30 days, mid-year, there is a calendar out there for you, and then at the end of the year. I read on the frequently asked questions today that you could perhaps do them more frequently if you wanted to use it to guide your instruction. So if you wanted to see how children were doing, or a specific child or groups of children, that you could use it more frequently for more data points. But these are the points, these 3 times a year are used for your readiness rate calculation towards the end of the year. We're looking at that growth 3 times. So we have to have those 3 data points for that growth score. However, I would still recommend for your teachers that you're keeping portfolio information, because you want to keep as much information as you can to demonstrate growth or challenges and to guide instruction so that you continue to meet the needs of those individual children in your classroom. Portfolios are great also for parent engagement, to be able to share with parents how their child is doing moving forward. Of course, parents will get access to this assessment tool as well. But we all know this online assessment doesn't capture everything that you and your teachers are doing with children. And so portfolios are still definitely something that I would continue as a best practice. I think losing that would be detrimental to all of the services that you're offering and the children that you're serving. And I see Lori nodding. If you have more to add, please feel free to jump in. Well, all 3 assessments come together in the end to show progression. So we are going to have reports that we can look at. I don't know yet if a child moves from one center to another. So if we have a child that transfers, is in your center for 3 months and then transfers, we're not quite sure how the child will be tracked, because the readiness rate usually connects with the child who's been served 70% or more of the VPK hours in your program. So if the child was only 20% in your program and then went somewhere else, the 70% is the center that would receive that particular readiness rate or growth scores. But if you have the child for the entire year or from one assessment to another, we should be able to track growth scores, and we're hoping to see some reports out of this system. We're really looking forward to being able to do that, and you should be able to do that at your sites as well, whether you have one class or multiple classes. I see that somebody, Tammy, you didn't receive tablets yet, so we will touch base. I'll make sure. What center are you at, Tammy? Harmon? I'll just have you type it in. I guess we've got everybody muted. You can't answer me anyway. I'll have her add that in there. If there's somebody that didn't get any. Community Alliance. Okay, we'll check and see. You might be on the new distribution list of the ones coming out this week. So we'll check on that and get back to you. Thanks, Tammy. When we return the laptops, will we have a sign-in type sheet to sign, and will we need to complete the sign-out forms for the devices? We put together one form that will have you return 2 laptops. We'll sign it, and a staff member will sign it, and that we're distributing 2 headsets to you. So we'll just have one form that we can share. Yeah, we definitely want to have a paper trail so that we don't lose anything, and we'll give you a copy of that as well if you'd like. Good questions. Anything else? I know it's a lot of information, and I appreciate your patience with us. This device thing, we thought it would be a fantastic thing to offer, and I apologize to all of you for it taking so long to get into everybody's hands, but hopefully this system will work well. And we're really excited to have everybody be able to see this data, and that your readiness rates will be based on your class scores this year, and they'll be on the growth of children. We don't know what that formula is yet. They're still working on that, how they're going to, what percentage will be growth scores and what percentage will be the class scores. But I will point out, if anybody has not utilized any of the online resources for your VPK teachers on what the classroom assessment scoring system, the class tool, looks like, we don't want teachers to be freaked out when we come in and do observations. So please use those online tools to orient them to the class so that we can make sure that they're comfortable with us coming in, and they have as many resources as possible to be successful. The tablets go to sleep quickly. I'm going black while the children are in the assessment. You know what, we'll take a look at that, Ted. I'll see if there are some settings that we might be able to change on that, and get back to everybody if we've got some information. It's a good question. We'll make a note of that. It's probably a power saving thing, and the default might just be too fast. We'll look into that and send you guidance on that. Okay. When will class training be available for directors? We've been sending out lots of online resources that you can watch. There are electronic resources that directors can watch now. There's targeted directly for directors and for the classroom teacher. There's kind of two different modules that you can look at. And I don't know, Tanya, if you have more that you wanted to add to that, but it's already out there. Please watch those videos. We got a report not too long ago. I could only get a statewide report on the use of those electronic tools. And I was shocked that statewide, only 480 people had watched some of these videos. Statewide, every VPK class in the state is going to be using this tool. So we can resend it out. We've sent it out multiple times, the class tools in Constant Contacts, and the links to all of those tools.
Jennifer,
any additional guidance from our team? Go ahead, Lori.
When the state gave us the class foundations, it was only for lead VPK instructors. So I think our directors would have asked, and I've asked the state, and apparently something they're working on. Is that correct, Tanya? Do you know more? I don't know.
I apologize.
In the meantime, we have given out my Teachstone Learning resource that's available to everyone. And within my Teachstone, there are the learnabouts for class pre-K. There is also other class pre-K trainings that is self-paced that everyone can participate in, while we are also giving out subscriptions to class foundations. So definitely many options there to become more familiar with the class pre-K tool. And so if someone does not have a My Teachstone account, if you could please just let us know, and then we will create one for you so you can have access to that.
Thank you, Tanya. So again, you have to get an invitation from our team for the My Teachstone resources. The director resources that the teacher resources that the state sent out aren't being fully used. So we want to make sure that those are getting distributed as well. And we can send some reminders as well with the follow-up with a copy of this email, just to make sure everybody's looking at it and has access. I see, Lori, you mentioned the readiness rates will be a combo of class scores and growth. Correct. And it will be class scores and growth from the time the child starts VPK to the time the child ends VPK. It's not going to take into consideration when the child is assessed again in kindergarten. Even though it's the same tool, you get credit without the learning loss being attributed to your instruction. So it's a much more accurate representation of how the children are doing without that summer learning loss component that was a problem before. Ashley mentioned, will the training still be added to our transcripts? So Teachstone, my Teachstone trainings, those are not necessarily going to show up on your DCF transcript, but the STAR trainings will show up on your transcript as long as you put your ID in when you take it. So that's the big issue, is you have to have your DCF ID and enter it when you take it so that it will connect. It takes a little time for them to connect them, but it does show up.
They said they're working on it. We just got an email about that they're in the process.
Oh, are they having problems? Okay.
Mm-hmm. It just came.
Okay, so there's a challenge with that. They are working on it. That's the intention. That's what they've been telling us all along. So, all right, let's see. Are we having extra time on the first 30-day assessment? No, they are not giving us extra time. It's 30 days of instruction after your first day of VPK. So you can go ahead and have the children, you know, put the tablets in kind of as a center if you want to, or have scheduled time that they can alternate and utilize the assessment for a little while. And I'm hoping to see that myself. I haven't played with the testing site or the practice site, so I'd like to see that also. Okay, if you have your own Teachstone. So this is the state's system. So you're talking about the My Learning resources for Teachstone?
And so I was just responding to Diana.
Okay.
You already have a My Teachstone, you are good to go. It does not have to be attached to the school. The trainings are built within the platform, and just use your filter for class pre-K and everything will show up right there. And then I'll email you, and we can email everybody. We have like an inventory per se of the different trainings that are within My Teachstone that are free and included, and we can send that out. It'll help you to maneuver through the platform easier.
I wanted to say we still have class foundations. I gave out probably the 90, except for I believe when we went in, the state gave us a report of how many had completed. There was only about 40 of those 90 that had completed instructors. So if you have instructors that were sent, I would urge them to go on. But if you go ahead and email me, I can give you information on how to get into the class foundations, because if we were given 90, we want to use 90. So go ahead and email me and I will respond.
Great. I see another question about where is the STAR training? If you go to floridaearlylearning.com/VPK/FAST, there is a whole section on training, and there's a VPK program director's training schedule that you can link to. And there's a VPK program instructor's training listed right on Division of Early Learning website. Sorry, just trying to read through here. So is it 30 days of instruction or 30 calendar days before you are required to complete the STAR assessment.
It's instruction days.
30 instructional days. Thanks, Lori. So right now, the training, it says August 11th was the last day. I know they're going to do more, be offering more of these training sessions. So again, as soon as we get any new ones, we will send it to you. But there are a number of, there's also, for anyone that needs to complete the training requirements, you can do so through Renaissance U, using the Fast Start Early Literacy Renaissance U enrollment guidance. So that's another piece in the training section on the DEL website. Okay. Has anybody looked at the practice assessment yet? I see a question about trying to find the practice assessment or where they can practice. Has anybody on our team played with that at all yet?
We did in training.
Okay.
I believe it's when you access, but there is a manual all about the assessment, and you can access that as well on the DEL website. So I would urge you to do that. They went through that training so fast, but we have not been playing around with it. So I don't know if anyone else on my team has.
So at the bottom of that Florida Early Learning FAST, actually, can I share my screen? Let's see if I can share my screen. If I can get to the right thing. Okay, so I just wanted you all to see. I'm going to just go to Florida Division of Early Learning so that you can see. This is their main page, and you can see it's floridaearlylearning.com. Okay. As you scroll down, if you ever want to know about policy and rules, this is a great place to find information about VPK, like how they're going to come up with their rules for the readiness rates and how they're going to calculate them with all of these new tools this year. That would be under laws and rules. Okay, and so they have things all in here. So there's your statutes for VPK. Lots of information for providers here, forms and so on. But I usually just cut short and go to FAST right here from the main page. And down here, you can see Florida Assessment of Student Thinking FAST using Start Early Literacy. When you go to this page, oh, it gave me more than I needed to. Let's try that again. So here's the FAST page. So down here, these are memos and letters that have come out. So if somehow your profile wasn't updated or your director's left and the email didn't come to the correct person anymore until you update this, these are communiques that have gone out already. Here are links for the training, which Stephanie mentioned probably went through August, but this link is for an additional training requirement and how you can sign up for that. Technology, hopefully our tablets and laptops will meet your needs here, but these resources are very helpful as well. So administration resources, there's your technical manual, test administration manual, test instructions for the teacher. These are all links. How to use users view for personnel, so your staff that are involved, users view for students. That's how you're going to see your students stopping a test, resuming an interrupted test. These are great resources for you to have available. And because they're links, we didn't want to just print it and send it to you. We want to have these links available to you. I'm going to go backwards if I can. Reports, we were talking about what reports you can get. So here are some different reports. The diagnostic report. Here's your instructional planning. We were talking about portfolios for children. This could be part of your planning, is having the classroom teachers actually have access to this instructional planning tool. Class report, looking at mastery for the subdomains. Here's the parent report, and the parents will be required to receive the reports of their children's assessment. That is part of the expectation now.
It's within 7 days assessing their child.
So within 7 days. So make sure that that's part of your system, is that you're getting that out to the parents. And there's a piece in here that talks about a parent guide that you can give parents as well, so that they understand Family Guide to STAR assessments. Much more user-friendly tool that can help your families learn more about it. Even has QR codes for our tech-savvy parents. All right, so I'll stop sharing here. I just wanted you all to see kind of these resources. So I'm thinking in here, it's probably going to tell you where in that manual, the link to the manual, where you can get to the practice site. We'll take a look at that as well. Thanks, Daphne. Put in the readiness practice. And Renaissance does have some resources on their website as well. And Tanya dropped in the chat box the My Teachstone Learning Resources content. If you're interested in taking a look at that PDF file, you can download that from the chat box. And I see Diana, thank you for that comment, making sure your STAR class and Flamingo Early Learning name matches exactly so that it to your DCF transcript. Yeah, if you use a shortened version of your name, then it won't all link up properly. Absolutely. Your student ID and your DCF name all have to be similar so that those systems can link together. And Brian, yes, we mentioned the devices should be delivered by Wednesday of this week is what we're anticipating. Anything else? I know it's a lot of information, but thank you very much for your your participation in this. And if you learn things, please share it with us. We do like to try and share with everybody. I appreciate you all calling me with your challenges. Again, I apologize for my delayed response time when I was trying to solve these device issues. But we really appreciate your patience with us and are hoping that this school year, it's gotten off to a rocky start, but that it'll go more smoothly for all of you as we move forward. And we really do appreciate your partnership. So thank you very much to all of you. Oh, I see a question about the window of notification for observation for our VPK class. Do we have the window time frame yet, Tanya, for VPK? Have they finished that rule promulgation? I'm not sure if that rule is done yet.
I think it went in front of the board last Thursday, the Department
Last Thursday?
So we're just waiting for the information.
The official release from DEL. So we tend to not, there are draft rules where I showed you on the DEL website. You can see the draft rules. We generally try not to send them out when they're draft and haven't been accepted yet so that we don't confuse people and when there are changes. but you can certainly go and take a look at it on the draft website. I have not looked at the State Board of Ed agenda yet, but I have not heard that they did not accept it. But sometimes it comes with additional guidance when they release those rules. So as soon as we receive them, we will send them to you.
The time frame they were looking at, like Jennifer said, we're waiting for the official, was a 2-week window. You would be given a 2-week window. So like Jennifer said, we're just waiting for the official word on that.
And it's a little, we've been doing these assessments in school readiness centers. If you're a school readiness center, you already know how this works. It's pretty similar. The 2-week window is what we had done, what we do in school readiness, but it can be challenging. So because if we have 4 different centers in the same 2-week window and we're navigating through that and the availability of assessors, it's a little challenging. So we appreciate you keeping all of your teachers up to date and your profile up to date, because that helps us have accurate information when we open those windows. We're hoping we're not going to have a lot of turnover and things are stable now, but we also know the world we live in right now and things are a little crazy. So, all right. How long will they observe each class? So the assessment itself is 4 20-minute cycles. Tanya's going to go, no, Jennifer, you're wrong.
It's okay. The whole process itself is about 2 hours. However, it just depends on what's taking place. If a classroom happens to go outside and it's not a structured activity, that time is not observable. So then it might be a little bit more than 2 hours if the outside time takes place during the assessment, if that makes sense. So it's hard to give you an exact, it just depends what's going on in the classroom, but typically it's 2 hours.
Thank you. All right, and I saw Jennifer asked what goes to the parents within 7 days. It's actually the report of the child's assessment that comes out of the Renaissance system. The STAR report on that child would go to the parents of that child within 7 days of actually doing the final assessment. No problem, I'm glad you're asking. Okay. Think we got everything? All right. Please reach out to us. If you're able to swing by to either pick up headsets or drop off cases or tablets, just email Sandy or Stephanie and let them know you're coming, and we will be working amongst ourselves to come out and visit those of you who are not able to swing by. And we really do appreciate your help with this. Great. Thanks, everybody.